We're going to talk about religious vocations. Yeah, if not, he wouldn't have taught the people about God. If not, the people wouldn't have known about God. But he had God's calling, so he taught a lot of people about. They visit people in the hospital when they're sick, and then they help people not to be so bad and do confession. Yeah, and teaches a lot of good things. Yeah, unlike being naughty or bad or mischievous. Yeah, for me, when I pray, it helps me to be more peaceful, not to be so irritated. Like sometimes when I'm very angry, like my friend, he disturbs me all the time. So when I pray, I feel much more better.
She has told me a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of work to do, a lot of stuff to write, a lot of things to say. When I grow up, I would like to be a florist because I like flowers.
I will help people. I will be generous to people and be holy. I need to be holy. I need to be as holy as a saint. I want to be adventurous. I want to find the legend is true or not.
In details, it actually takes personal relationship with God to discover whether we have that calling or not. Can we nudge from God? Well, before it takes a long while for me to also get to this RCA journey. In a period, I was searching for something, but I couldn't articulate what is that actually, like concretely. I did not know what was it. So until my lecturer, so we went out, so that was in an event, so I was in her car, so I saw like there's this crucifix and all that in the car, so I asked her, Miss Jean, are you a Catholic? So that was my knowledge of Christianity was only restricted to Catholic and Protestants. So she said yes. So I asked her, like, I actually wonder, what do you Catholics do on Sunday in the church? So she just gave me some words that I think sort of invitation, and on hindsight I was like, why was I so so I don't know how to say, like, but she said, like, come and see.
To be frank, I didn't really know about this order. The spark began in 2011 onwards. Yeah. So from there, I asked Father Simon Yong and a few other priests about this desire and to discern together with me, Yeah. So that's how things started until today. But being in the Catholic family, both my parents, they like very active in the church. I think since young, I always have this thought about becoming a priest and things like that, But I was thinking it was just my childhood memories, and that's it, faded off.
Find another priest.
Find more priests, more priests, more religious.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
How should they do it?
By asking them to help rebuild the church.
Just sit down.
All right. And do you wish him good morning? You wish. What right? Sit back.
Well, there was one priest during the World War II. There were many people who were arrested, and then one prisoner escaped. So the prison wardens were very angry. They picked 10 people to be executed. But one priest, he knew one people that had children, so he took the place of that man who was going to be executed.
What do you think about it?
He is very courageous.
At that particular time, the priest I feel embodies Christ, as if it's Christ's voice actually speaking to us. Yes, if I would very much prefer a religious life.
Remember, Auntie, you always say the good shepherd. Who's the good shepherd?
God,
Yeah. What's God's name?
Jesus.
Jesus. That's right. Yeah. When you go for mass, right? Who do you see?
God.
God. You see God? Yeah. And who's in front there at the top during mass? Father Lawrence. That's right. What does Father Lawrence do? You like to do it?
Hallelujah, people.
Hallelujah paper. That's good. Yeah.
the topic has come up. Usually by me bringing it up lah, just sort of hinting here and there, what they think about the priesthood, and at least for any Catholic human being, whether male or female, the religious life is always an option lah. I find that youths today think that why would you even want to consider anything that is other than the married life? They tend to think that married life is higher priority than the other. But I mean, at least for youths who haven't discerned enough to make a proper decision, the religious life and the married life should be at the same level. It should always be an open option. And for some, they're thinking, oh, what do you want to be a priest? Restrict your life, no life, can't go out and have drinks with your friends anytime you want. You can't have maybe in some cases a sexual partner. They seem to think that's more important. I can see where they're coming from, but to some extent they have not seen or learned enough to know how God has already placed a special ministry for the priesthood. And I think I don't blame the youth for not knowing enough or maybe having the interest to want to contribute, but it's rather a learning process. Back when I was younger, I thought the same thing. Get married, that's what everyone does, or so it seems. The priesthood is essential to the Catholic life, in a sense where, I mean, if no one's gonna celebrate the sacrament of the Eucharist, what else is left? The common theme I found among the religious, of course, there are all the ups and downs, there's ups and downs in everything, whether in the married life or the religious life. But at the end of the day, they were happy with what they were doing. They understood why they are doing it, and that understanding makes them feel happy. I mean, then again, you shouldn't do anything just because it makes me feel good. But they understood how, as Catholics, there is special places, and certain vocation. I mean, vocation doesn't just mean the priesthood. It can mean married life also. It can mean consecrated life also. So I don't believe they don't have any life. In fact, I think they probably have more life than some people.
To be honest, when I was young, when I was like 10, whenever I was in church with my parents, I saw the altar servers. They were actually having fun while in church, and while I was just sitting there, so I wanted to, do something while I was in church and maybe help out. I find it really respectable, and because they indeed have to sacrifice a lot. I also find it like, for example, to become a priest, you have to go through a long training, and they actually sacrifice all of that just to become a priest. And how do I feel about it? How do I feel about it? I feel proud that people from my faith, Catholic faith, will actually do such a thing. They are willing to sacrifice their whole what we call our normal life, to have a wife, to have kids, and to have a nice job and to live a perfect life. But they are willing to actually sacrifice all of that, and it's really respectable. I would say, there are definitely times that I actually look at a priest and was really it was really breathtaking for me to actually like see them doing such a respectable role. I actually view myself a few times being in that position, but it was probably just a short period of time.
Becoming a priest, you sacrifice a lot. You can't marry, obviously, and you don't want to undergo the priesthood journey with a heavy heart and view it as a sacrifice. You don't view it as a sacrifice. You're letting this go, and you don't get disappointed of it, but rather you're joyful that you'll be able to serve God your entire life. Parents should implement the Catholic belief, not force, teach their kids about the Catholic belief from a young age, raise them right, don't, because most families nowadays, they force their kids, they're like, they scare them, basically they scare them now, like, oh, you don't do this, you're going to hell, you don't do this, you're going to hell. So I believe like it's actually, it's like you have to raise your kids properly, like in the right way, so they see the Catholic belief as rather love and openness instead of, I'll feel, well, it'll be really disappointing. Parents have to expose their kids at a young age and implement the Catholic belief into them so that kids can have a better calling.
No, not really. Yeah, maybe in different types of ways, but not becoming a nun. I think they think it's a bit boring because they maybe like dedicate their whole life to God, and they are not so sure whether they actually get the calling from God. Yeah, I think they're too much like occupied with what's going on now, and they don't really think about God's calling and whether it's right for them. If Father asked me to do it, I would do it. Like example, like going through talks, campaigns, and yeah.
And who are you going to get into the talks? Because you would need interesting people, right?
Yeah.
Right? Is there any role model that you would look at so that they can be your spiritual guide for your talk?
A few nuns maybe.
Do you have any in mind?
Sister Enda, what
Oh.
God wants them to do when they grow up. So I think they should just pray about it and like wait for God's calling until they want them to either become a nun or a priest or a deacon.
I want to become a nun so that to spend more time with God and to know a lot of things about God and his gospels. I see nuns and priests, they help lots of people, and that admires me, and what I feel like I want to join them. Say you have an opportunity to go, why don't you just go for it, because God calls you to be his servant.
I have spoken to priests, and I've really the reason is they're vicars of Christ. So really, I'm quite nervous. Supposing, for example, when I go for the sacrament of reconciliation, I have butterflies in my stomach and everything. It's very, very nerve-wracking because you are publicly telling someone, confessing your sins, and sometimes people are not prepared to do that. So to actually voice out your sins to another individual will be very difficult. But when you realize that Christ is listening to you and he will forgive your sins if you ask for forgiveness, he will forgive it, and then it's a breeze. And I spoke to a cardinal, and he really put the definition of a religious life into perspective. There are some priests that balance their spiritual life and their physical lives here on earth.
Being good, not being bad, teaching about God.
You told me you wanted to be a scientist, right?
Animator.
Animator
Or a vet, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But my parents always tell me to keep my doors open into becoming a De La Salle brother or a priest or anything.
If I have a calling, that would be a tough decision, a very tough decision. I'll take a long time to think about it because it really is a big deal. You have to go through a lot. You have to figure out whether you really want this or you really do not. You want to figure out. But I'll go through a long time to figure it out. So I don't have a definite answer right now.
So part of my interest is also in music because I think like my passion for serving God is through praise and worship also, the singing praise.
You know there are a few, huh?
Yeah, I know there are few. Maybe praying about it as well, so that maybe God will give you a revelation to do something.
Maybe.
I do want to serve God more in the future, but I mean, like, if you're talking about priesthood, then I would like a calling. Then I would feel as if it's proper to dedicate myself to the priesthood.
Kind of invitation for me, and from that moment on, I was like, okay, I found something that can fulfill my heart, that the desire of the heart. So it just flows that way. And I remember after baptism, I went for a retreat with Father Ignatius One in Maranatha, and yes, so yes, so I was talking to him, and I think he could see in a way like, oh, you're in spiritual high, like just wait. So he said, it's good, that you have this, you have this realization, awareness, and that God is working in your life and all that. But give yourself some time. Don't be so rushed. Well, my answer is basically yes, because we are building God's nation and on this earth here, His kingdom, to glorify Him. Yes,
I was wrong because things just there. As much as I want to reject it, as much as I want to avoid it, but then it just appears again and again and again. So I was saying, okay, why is this thing calling keep on bugging me? Why this thing wandering around in my head? I thought it was just plainly memory or whatever, you know. So then I was like decided to like, okay, if this is something that God wants me to do or something, let's make it a point that okay, this moment onwards, I need to be serious about my vocation. I need to really be serious about this, and once and for all get it done. And then if at the end of the journey, if it is not, then yes, I will like feel satisfied that finally I got the answer that, oh yeah, priesthood. Oh yeah, this is not the calling, that kind of thing. After that 1 year journey with the priest and all that, then it's either you say no or it's either yes, and then you may continue for the next level. It has never been easy. It has never been green pastures all the while. There's a lot of ups and downs during discernment period per se. So my advice would be persevere, pray, and really pray about it, and also ask for God's guidance. And also on top of that, you have to tell your parents that you have something like this, the desire in you that you want to tell to someone. So first and foremost, you need to tell to your parents, and after that and later on your spiritual director, so that they will support you as a being the one close to you. And also it is always good to have parents back up. I thank God that my parents, they are open enough to receive or to accept this kind of idea. And also I'm really grateful that they are very encouraging and very supportive, and I would say very open to it. And then it is very important, very crucial part of this journey, because without them, I wouldn't be able to sustain until today. Yeah, so I think still parents will be the one that need to know things, and also they need to be the one hold you and support you till the end.
And I am willing to give up my life for Jesus.
If it comes in a clear voice and it's very clear to me that that is my calling, I think there will be a higher chance for me to go forward. But if I'm still at the discernment process, I would think that it's better for me to get a degree first. I think that is also what was encouraged by the Archdiocese. When I was a little child, I said that I was an altar server. So I admire the priest a lot. And when the Sunday school teacher says that the priest is Jesus, and when all attention was given to the priest during the Mass, and he was wearing the vestment, I think that, wow, it's so cool. So that was during my younger stage. So after that, coming to secondary school, I find that I have more interest in theology. I have more interest in knowledge about God. Because for me, I also been questioning what is the meaning of life. And when I was told that there's a life beyond our earthly life, I was amused, I was amazed. And I noticed that priesthood allows me not to worry about any secular things, but only focus on the love of God. For me, that's simply amazing. Would I sacrifice my time? Would I sacrifice my life to be a priest? If the answer is yes, I would say let's go on.
I would think that at least to me lah, what I find most attractive is how only the priest has the succession of Peter, you know. That's, I think, one of the most attractive things, that you are in a succession of bishops and priests and popes that God Himself has given the authority to go out into the world and preach. And also, the most important for me is the sacrament of the Eucharist, you know. No one else on earth except the priest has this authority and this God-given, so to say, power to change the bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. I thought about it before, and again, the same conclusion. If I know for sure, at least, that God is calling me to be a priest, I've prayed before and I told God, if this is what you want me to do, without a doubt, I will drop anything else that is worldly, and follow what you have told me.
And there's this one point that really struck me in my journey lah, where that priest showed me a picture and showed me a slideshow where with the iPhone screen on it, and it's like God calling. So will you pick up or no? So it's like, if God is really working in that way, it's like calling you directly. So I guess it would be a very long hesitation lah to either say yes or no. The first priest that actually initiated my desire to serve is a priest back then when I was in Sabah. I was primary 5 back then, and growing in a small Catholic community, we actually doesn't have the opportunity to participate in mass every week. You know, we are just, I would say, celebrating the liturgy of the word. So we don't have the privilege to participate in mass every week. So maybe about in every 3 months, there will be like once or twice a priest will be coming over to celebrate mass with us. So there's this one priest, a diocesan priest lah, where he's very loving and he has very fatherly figure, you know. So somehow I was like thinking, this priest is so loving, he's so fatherly figure, you know, how I wish that I can be like him. It's good that you acknowledge that you have that desire, but then again, you cannot just sit there and, okay, I have that calling. Is it for me? No. It's not just thinking or just reflecting alone. There's more than that, which is taking action. It's like going shopping. The spiritual director is not gonna tell you what you have to do, but the spiritual director is just gonna be walking with you and telling you and guiding you. But the final say or the final decision is from you. So it's really from yourself.